Rio wasn't this year, yeah?
Yeah, last year. Well, we're
Yeah,
live
as
now.
in Maiden, I mean, yeah. We're live, are we? Woo! Hello!
Estamos começando mais uma Wiki Metal Happy Hour, dessa vez com um convidado especialíssimo direto da Inglaterra. Estou conversando aqui com John McMurtry, one of the greatest photographers in music today, right, John? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Considering how shit everything is, I think I think I'm doing good. Yeah,
Cheers.
I'm kind of cheers, man. Here's to you. Nice
This
one.
is the happy hour. We have to make a toast. But I remember last time I saw you. Last time I saw you was under very different circumstances. I bumped into you just before one of the best concerts I ever seen. I think it was, I don't know if it was before or after, but it was a fantastic show that Maiden played at Rock in Rio last year.
Yeah. It was breathtaking, wasn't it? And I feel so privileged that I was there to see that. You know, that's my first Rock in Rio.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've done all the tours with Maiden throughout Brazil and stuff. But for some reason, the Rock in Rios, I never, either I wasn't around or I didn't shoot. And it was like each time it came around, it was, there was like other things. So last year, it was just amazing. I was so pleased to be there. It was brilliant.
That's great. I have to interrupt you a couple of times to translate to Portuguese for the folks that don't speak English. So I'll do that really quick as I can. Eu falei com o John McMurtry, é um dos maiores fotógrafos de música do planeta, e a última vez que a gente se encontrou, eu esbarrei nele, por acaso, saindo ali da área de camarins do Rock in Rio. Ele estava correndo para ele fotografar o show do Iron Maiden no Rock in Rio do ano passado, que foi um dos maiores shows. Ele ficou também, foi o primeiro Rock in Rio que ele participou, coincidentemente, porque a banda tocou em vários Rock in Rios, mas ele não estava presente nos outros. Before we continue, I have to publicly thank you for something that maybe you don't even know,
right.
But this was a very important gift for me, not only because of this fantastic, awesome, super spectacular book, but I could see me in the book.
Oh yeah, there you go. Excellent. There you go. Brilliant. I still get so many emails from people saying, you know, I'm in page whatever, and I mean, that's the fun thing about the book, isn't it? It's just a collection of crazy moments and everybody who hangs out with the band. It's brilliant.
I have to tell you this book will be sitting here in my office until the day I die.
Thanks, man.
I'll never get rid of this. This is a very fond memory, and these were very special times, very special tour for the band as well. The Summer Back in Time tour was unreal.
I mean, it was just crazy, wasn't it? I mean, I jumped on board with the plane with Maiden in 2006 for the Matter of Life and Death, and then from out of nowhere there was talk about they were going to do this crazy tour in 2008 with a 757, and Bruce at the controls. So that was bonkers, absolutely bonkers, And I remember sort of vividly thinking, this is crazy, because I'd seen Bruce fly in 2005, but what they were attempting was just so ambitious that, it was just terrifying.
And eu tava falando com ele que eu agradeço
The live stream's just gone down on my end. I don't know if you're getting this.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's fine for me here. But anyway,
okay.
Ele falou para ele. Falei para ele que eu tenho que agradecer ele publicamente, porque além dele ter me mandado esse livro maravilhoso aqui, que é um dos livros mais legais que eu já vi de rock, que é o livro do Flight 666, eu apareço em duas fotos aí, que eu trabalhava na gravadora da banda, e foi uma tour muito especial, a Somewhere Back in Time Tour, e ele falou que sim, porque ele trabalha com a banda desde o Matter of Life and Death, e aí eles já falavam sobre esses planos, né, do Bruce voar, e ele ficou meio assustado, mas realmente foi uma turnê muito ambiciosa. How come those guys, man? How can they, they never stop. They always ambitious about plannings and
crazy, isn't it?
New things, and they never settle.
Yeah, no.
What do they have? What do they drink in the morning?
I don't know.
Steve Harris is crazy. I remember last time he was here. I don't know if it was last time or second last, but he played a 90-minute football match on the day of the show. I mean, and he didn't play half time. He played 90 minutes straight, and he scored. And it was like official size of a pitch, like
and he's playing against really, really good players, professional players, and he's up front. He's like, I think he's a midfielder.
Goals and
it's just crazy. And then
the guys are like the 30-year-olds and 35-year-olds or 25 or whatever.
Insane. I know. And then you've got Bruce flying in, fencing, just doing all the stuff he does, but he doesn't just sort of do things to be done. He does things so he is the best at them, and and every time he delivers, But he's not a show off, and that. You've met him enough times, haven't you? He is who he is. He's an incredible character. So
dos caras do Iron, o que ele tem na água que eles tomam, né? Porque eles estão sempre se reinventando, sempre fazendo coisas novas. O Steve Harris, por exemplo, jogou uma partida de futebol de 90 minutos de campo, futebol de campo, e ele ainda meio de campo fez gol, jogando com a galera de 30 e poucos anos, e no dia do show, ele ainda fez um show de 2 horas e pouco à noite. E o Bruce também, né? É esgrimista, pilota avião, faz palestras. Os caras sempre não querem fazer só coisas diferentes, mas eles querem ser os melhores naquilo que eles fazem. But this is an inspiration, right? Are you there? Hello? Eu não sei o que aconteceu, mas deu uma travada. Are you there?
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring to oops. It's very inspiring to be with those guys, right? To hang out with those guys.
I mean, it is, but you know what they're like. They don't have any massive egos, so it's not intimidating in the sense of being in their presence, but it is slightly intimidating in the sense that they're so accomplished human beings at what they do. So, but I mean, they're amazing individuals, aren't they? They're the sum of all parts, Iron Maiden. But but the fans are just as big a part of Iron Maiden, I think, as the band themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that I started working. I mean, I play guitar and bass guitar since I was a kid, but I started working professionally in the.
You never know.
In the music business since '96, and I worked for 6 different record companies and with hundreds of artists. And I have to say that the experience I had with Iron Maiden through those 7-8 years that I was at EMI, it was like something really so special, and you really feel that you're treated as a family. And Rod, even today, he's a very unique manager because he's still. To this day, he still invites me to the shows and sends me a pass and treats me like as if I was, makes me feel so special. It's so unique.
Yeah, I mean, he's that's the uniqueness to that band, isn't he? He really is the 7th member of that band. I mean, without Rod, there'd still be Iron Maiden, but Rod's the guy who does all the clever stuff behind the scenes, isn't he? But he does it so well, and I think, you read some of the stories about different managers and how they operate. But Rod has written his own sort of path, hasn't he? He knows how to do things. He knows how to get things done, and he knows how to get on with people. And I think that's a key ingredient, isn't it? But that's a key ingredient in the music industry. I think, it's you can turn up to somewhere and you can dazzle someone and you can have some fun and all the rest of it. But you've got to genuinely get on with people, and I think that's the key to Rod, isn't it? He's brilliant at
eu tava falando do trabalho que eu fiz com o Iron Maiden, que foi uma das coisas mais legais que eu já fiz na vida, foi trabalhar com essa banda, e que é uma sensação tão especial, porque eles também te fazem sentir parte da família. E o Rod Smallwood, que é o empresário da banda, é um cara único que realmente tem essa noção de como tratar as pessoas, e isso faz a banda muito, muito única. How was the beginning? How did you guys first start working together?
With Iron Maiden, well, I was working for Metal Hammer magazine, so I'd kind of I was shooting everything from sort of the new metal scene to the old metal scene to the new wave metal scene. And I'd shot Iron Maiden a few times for the magazines, front cover shoots and what have you. and I just got on really well with them. I had a really good experience with them. I met Rod a couple of times, and I was terrified of meeting Rod the first time. And that's the beautiful thing about him. He's got such a lovely, disarming smile, and I just thought, oh my God, this is Rod. And I think, as long as you're just genuine with him, and you don't try and you don't pull any stunts, against the band or anything like that. I just got on well with them. And then they called me in to do some things. I think I did a Bruce Air in 2005, where that was the first time Bruce had sort of captained a plane and then gone on and sort of done a whole gig. I think it was 2005 to Iceland. And
Wow.
that was fabulous. And and it was just after that I got on with everybody, and they just gave me a call, and I did what I do. So it's been beautiful. It's been brilliant ever since.
When you worked at Metal Hammer, was it at the time when Alexander Milas was the
yeah?
He's also a great bloke, great guy.
He's an incredible character, isn't he? He's not just into heavy metal. He just lives and breathes heavy metal, and that's the brilliant
very clever
thing
man.
That guy.
Very clever man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine my sort of joy, because we worked together for quite a few years. As he was the journalist and I was the photographer. We'd go on all kinds of trips together. So we'd fly all over the world, and you know what it's like. You just get dumped and you meet up with a band. And I think there might have been a couple of Iron Maiden things. And then, Alex moves up to editor, and then he became a group publisher. So, the guy's a god. He's a legend. And we're really good friends. We were speaking last week. So have you had him on yet?
Not yet. I have to ask him. I don't know if I thought he was bike riding somewhere as he.
Oh, he's always bike riding. Yeah. He's always heavy metal bike riding. But
I met him in London a few years ago, and we went to a pub, had a few beers, and he was always so nice, and he introduced us to these kids, these girls from Birmingham that does the project called Home of Metal.
Oh it was fabulous.
And I mean, he's always helping us. And I mean, as you were saying before, when you're honest and sincere about things and real and truthful, and if you play the right way, all doors open, and you become friends with people, and then work becomes much easier because you have personal relationship with all those guys, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of pretense, isn't there, in the music industry? And I think, it's like sometimes, I remember going to LA and I was photographing a band, and there was a group of people who had no interest in speaking to me whatsoever. And then I happened to mention that I was working for Jane's Addiction. I was shooting Jane's Addiction in the secret sort of, they were reuniting and playing at the big sound stage where they filmed Gone with the Wind. And all of a sudden, everybody had an interest, and it was like, oh my God, and you just see through it, don't you? Yeah, I hate that. Easy. I really do. Yeah.
And after a while, it's so easy to see who's real and who isn't. But asking about the image part of the band, it's always been so important.
Oh, I've just lost you. So if you can hear me,
I can hear you.
I've just lost your audio. So I'll stay here and wait.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Is it fine now? Hello? Eu tava falando ele perguntei do Metal Hammer, da época que ele trabalhou lá, e perguntei se ele trabalhou com o Alexander Milas, que é um
Hopefully
cara
you can hear me, because you're going to ask me about image, I think.
Yeah, I was just taking advantage to translate a little bit of what we just said. E o Alexander Milas é o cara que organiza as corridas de bicicleta lá pela Inglaterra, junto com o pessoal do empresário do Iron Maiden. E eles trabalharam muito tempo juntos, são muito amigos. E o Alexander Milas era o chefe era o jornalista da Metal Hammer, depois o editor, depois o chefe da redação da Team Rock. E é um cara muito, muito legal também. Are you hearing me now? Some connection issues. Temos alguns problemas de conexão, mas o John deve voltar muito em breve. A gente espera um pouquinho. I don't know. Ops. Perdemos John McMurtry, mas ele deve voltar em breve. Vamos ver. O que a gente faz agora? Engraçado. A conexão do Brasil pelo jeito, está melhor que a da Inglaterra. Ele está se conectando de novo. Yeah. Eu acho que ele vai voltar em alguns instantes. Vamos lá, desculpem aí as nossas falhas técnicas, meus amigos, e eu agradeço já todo mundo que está assistindo, mas o John tá voltando aí, ó. Não sei como é que estão. Yeah, I think you're almost back. Hello. Vamos lá. Nada ainda. Pena, né, gente? Tava tão bom a conversa. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's either my end or
problem.
your end or something in between. So
yeah, it's the technology. And talking about the image in the band, who's the most involved one when it comes to image? Because Iron Maiden, since the album covers and the tour books, I always remember since I was a kid, all of my friends that went overseas and brought these fantastic tour books, or either the Running Free book, all these collectibles that are so important for rock fans.
It's a huge part of Iron Maiden, isn't it? The image and the album covers, and I think it's a collective thing, isn't it? I think Steve has a big part to play in it. I think Rod was involved quite heavily in it, but you would have to ask them for the definitive sort of answer to that. But for me, it's amazing, isn't it? Because that's why you get so excited when an album comes out. It's like Matter of Life and Death, Final Frontier, The Book of Souls. There's going to be a massive stage show that comes with that. So for me as a photographer, I'm trying to photograph each individual in the band and encapsulate pieces of the stage set within the character, which is a lot harder than you would think to do. But yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about them, isn't it? It's not just the album covers; it transfers into the stage show as well. And they deliver, don't they? They deliver. If you're a fan of that band, you get the album, you've got the artwork. Then you go and see them live. They're going to deliver. Yeah,
they're one of the best live shows I've ever seen, and I was lucky to see many of them. So and it's great because I mean all of the most important bands in rock history, they all have very important different characters within the band, and I think as a photographer you do a great job in identifying the characteristics of each component of the band, and it's great. I mean, they all have their
I'm just losing your audio. Sorry, say that again.
No, just saying that you can really see they're so charismatic, and all of them have their own personality, and you capture that really well.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean this recent tour, isn't it? I mean, the Legacy of the Beast is just phenomenal to shoot, isn't it? You've got so many changes with Bruce. It starts with Aces High, doesn't it, with the Spitfire, and he's got his goggles on. It just doesn't get any better than that. I remember going to the production rehearsals, and I knew nothing. About there was going to be a Spitfire. All I know was the set list, that it was Aces High first. And I always chat to Rob, the lighting guy, and I sort of chat to him. He said, "Oh my God, you're going to love Aces High," and he didn't tell me. And it was just the minute they hit the stage, and then the Spitfire goes up, and it was like, this is a photographer's dream, because I went through years photographing, quite a few boring bands, really. So, when a band like that goes on stage, it's just the best thing in the world to photograph, and you feel the warmth of the crowd behind you as well. And that's what's been so enjoyable about the Legacy of the Beast tour. Rock in Rio was I think that was the best of that entire tour. It really was.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's interesting. I was going to ask you, because you travel the whole world with this band and with others, of course, but especially with Maiden, and everybody says that the Brazilian audience is special and warm and so forth. And I know that the band has a fantastic relationship with the fans here. So, and they are very excited about anytime they play a show here. So they really do have a special relationship with
without that
audience,
yeah.
Right?
Absolutely, undoubtedly. And and that's not dissing any other crowd. I'm only talking me personally. I can't talk for Iron Maiden, but sort of UK crowds are incredible. Donington Monsters of Rock, the Off the Hook, they are incredible. And then you go to America, and the big shows there are just beautiful. But South America, that's when you get that energy, and you feel that sort of that spark from the audience. And you've been backstage just before Maiden have hit the stage. and the crowd are energized, and that energy gets transferred into the band. It's like every time I see it, and the band hit the stage, and it's that much higher. It's just every time with the South American crowd, especially with Brazil.
Sorry, go on.
Every single show in Brazil. You can do world tours where you go to places in the middle of nowhere or what have you, but it's, as you tour Brazil, it's like every single show is phenomenal. Curitiba and Sao Paulo and Rio and just all of it. Yeah. Recife.
Yeah, I was sorry last time because I realized you wouldn't be in Porto Alegre, and that was the one that I bought a plane ticket to see. But it was a pity we didn't meet. I'm sure we'll be meeting next time when you're here.
I hope so. Yeah.
Eu estava falando com ele da relação do Iron Maiden com o Brasil, né? Que realmente é uma relação muito especial. A banda sempre gostou muito. E ele viaja com a banda pelo mundo inteiro. Eu perguntei se realmente a banda tem essa coisa, porque todo mundo fala, vocês são o melhor show, o melhor plateia que a gente já tocou, mas realmente ele falou que o Brasil é especial, a América do Sul é especial, e o Brasil desses países é o mais importante, sem dúvida, e todos os shows no Brasil são excelentes, né? Ele falou que o público de vários, né, na Inglaterra, no Donington, nos Estados Unidos, todos os lugares são muito calorosos, mas no Brasil, antes de um show do Iron Maiden, realmente a reação do público tem uma energia tão forte que passa para a banda, e isso faz com que os shows sejam sempre muito energéticos. About photography influence, who are your main references when you started taking photos?
Oh man, oh God. I mean, I'm really into, this will really surprise you, but really into kind of the war photographers, reportage and stuff like that. So there's a photographer called Don McCullum, who's a really famous war guy who did a lot of the Vietnam War stuff, shot for the Times. And I think he was my early influence as far as reportage sort of stuff. But gigs, concerts wise, I think, Big Jim Marshall, there's so many guys that were kind of sort of doing the scene. But yeah, I mean, I don't know really. I just wanted to shoot gigs. That was it. That was my thing.
Do you know a Brazilian photographer called Sebastião Salgado?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's a current guy shooting now, or was he someone from?
He's still shooting now, and he goes to these remote places or places that are affected heavily by tragedies or natural disasters and stuff. And he only photographs in black and white. I think you'll like it. He's really, really interesting. And about some images, I separated some images here for you to comment, because I like to about this.
Oh yeah, man, totally.
The Hipgnosis covers were something that really, really influenced the rock world, right?
Yeah, just incredible, aren't they? Absolutely incredible. And Storm's gone now, isn't he? He's kind of no longer with us, but his legacy lives on. But yeah, I love all that. But their kind of cover shoots with just such ridiculous budgets that I would love to go. There's a really good photographer I like called Mark Seliger, and he's the guy who says, right, I want a chrome petrol tanker. I want, Tom Jones hanging off it, eating an ice cream. And, I wish I had those budgets. I really do. And record labels they hate budgets these days. They really do. And I think that's what I'm quite well known for, being a hit and run photographer, that I can set up a studio anywhere and I can use my imagination to sort of, make things happen and stuff. But yeah, I'm quite jealous of those. When you show me pictures like that, I'm quite jealous to be able to.
I met Rupert, who's the guy that takes care of all Storm's legacy and at Hipgnosis. I don't know if you met him, but he told me this. He was he's a photographer, and he told me these are all real beds. Yeah. So you can imagine that. I don't know how many hundreds of beds they were taking, how many trucks. So it's all about the budget, because in the 70s, record companies they are throwing out the money to, for the bands like this size to do anything, right?
These days, they'd say do it in Photoshop, wouldn't they? Just a few beds and we could replicate it. But they did that. They did that for real. So yeah, I'm actually very good friends with which Pink Floyd album is the light bulbs? The guy with the light bulb, the guy on Fire.
Delicate Sound of Thunder.
Yeah, delicate center. There's a photographer called Andy Earl who I know really well. We're good friends, and yeah, he shot that one with Storm, and I think that was great fun. But yeah, I would have loved to have worked with him. I really would.
This is a really interesting album cover.
Oh man, Houses of the Holy, isn't it? Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, really. Devil's Causeway, isn't it? In Ireland. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it was Robert Plant's daughter, wasn't it, in the photo?
Yeah.
And then there was.
You couldn't do this artistic work today anymore because people would say that it's nudity and obscenity or whatever.
Yeah, I think there was a load of flack when they reissued it, and they were saying, could they still get away with this? And it's like, you know, it's a beautiful picture, isn't it? It's really, really nice picture.
Yeah, that's art.
Stuff like that. It's wonderful. Yeah.
How about this band?
Oh man, totally. Yeah, Queen, Killers. Yeah, they just had it all going on, didn't they? Look at those lights. Look at those tungsten light rigs. I'm so jealous. Nobody uses tungsten anymore. It's all LED. So an LED light is just the most hideous light ever, which just takes, without boring you to death. But all the photographers will love this. But LED light is so horrible. But yeah, that's a beautiful. Was that Robert Ellis shot that?
I'm not sure, but this is a beautiful photo, beautiful shot, and the band is also image for that band was also very important, and the shows were. I never seen it. I never seen Queen with Freddie Mercury, but suppose it was one of the best live shows ever.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, I did at Wembley Stadium. I think '86, possibly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and. Believe me, it was just the most mind sort of blowing experience I've ever had. And I wasn't a massive fan of Queen at the time. And a load of my friends were into one of the sport bands. There's a goth band called The Alarm. And they're not totally goth. Yeah. And after The Alarm, they left. And I was like, no way, I'm staying for Queen and I'm going to watch Queen. And it really was the most incredible thing. And Freddie had every single person in that stadium in the palm of his hand. It was amazing. Yeah.
I think your friends regret it now.
I think they probably do.
How about this one? This is also very important, related to images. This band.
No comment. The internet can't die now. Just as I'm sort of. Oh, can you hear me now, Nando?
Yeah, I can.
No comment. No comment. I work with so many American bands that sort of absolutely adore Kiss, and it's brilliant. And obviously, it means so much to them. And in England, Kiss, for some reason, just didn't come in to that. They never entered my world. And I've kind of dealt with them a few times and photographed them a few times. And yeah, I'll park that there, Nando.
One of the best album covers of all time, right?
It's probably one of the best albums of all time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just the album cover. It's probably just the greatest album. But all these albums it's the perfect sort of combination, isn't it? They deliver in the music, but they're also delivering, in the album artwork.
Yeah, and this is the last one. Also Hipgnosis album cover.
Oh, was it Hipgnosis who did that? No way. Yeah, Dirty Deeds, isn't it? It is Dirty Deeds, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I like that a lot. Yeah, I used to be in a heavy metal band, and we used to cut out sort of pictures of naked girls out of magazines as our posters on the wall, and we'd do these blacked out sort of things over and censor it, and we would post up these huge posters in our town, which is just outside London. So people would come into the town the next day, there's just these pictures of naked ladies everywhere, but they couldn't do it because we'd censored it. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, brilliant.
And since you're talking about the technology today, that people use different kinds of lights and the LED, LED and Photoshop, how has technology affected your work?
Digital, I love it. It's brilliant. I mean, I held off from going digital for quite a few years. All the early stuff on Maiden was shot on film, Matter of Life and Death. Everything was shot on film. And then, I held off until the technology got better than film, and it is better than film. But I think you've got to know how to handle digital files. You can't just take a photo and just throw it out there. You've got to treat it. You've got to sort of develop it in the same way that you would develop film. So yeah, no, I love digital. I would hate to do the world tours on the planes where you had sacks of film and I'm trying to find labs in Ecuador and labs in Puerto Rico. You know, it would just be hideous. So digital is brilliant. And, you know, you get on Ed Force One, I can open my laptop, I can show the band, I can show Rod all the shots from last night. We can do an image selection in the air. And then the minute I land, I'll just transmit. You know, it's great. I love it. I love the convenience of it. But, you know, you shoot a lot more because you shoot digital. When I used to shoot film and it was 36 shots and then you change film, you really sort of, you think about what you're going to press the button for. Whereas with digital, you really do. You can just hose things down. But saying that, I've gone through years and years of having to sit at a computer for hours editing. So I'm a little bit more conservative in the way I hit the button now, because there is nothing worse than just having to watch an Iron Maiden show and then spend the next 3.5 hours editing. You know, it's just, yeah. So there's good sides and bad sides to it. The convenience is it's so convenient, but the quality is excellent as well, which is great.
I suppose it's a challenge for new photographers that need to compete with other people that think that their phone can do the same thing that they can. So it's a difficult world for new photographers, isn't it?
Well, I mean, definitely with, you know, sort of the COVID world we're in at the moment with the coronavirus. I mean, I feel for anyone who's coming into the industry at the minute. It's on whether it's photography or anything at the moment. It's really tough, isn't it? Yeah. But the phone side of it, we when the Legacy of the Beast tour started, we devised a really cunning plan, because we thought, well, you know, everyone's going to be in the audience with their phones and they're going to be putting out the shots of Spitfires and, you know, Bruce doing the Icarus, and, you know, we wanted to beat them at their game. So when on that first show that we shot in Estonia, I was transmitting to one of the assistant managers' phones. So I had this really clever little device on the camera, so I could just select a shot and fire it to him. So when it fired to him, he then put it out on the net. So we were hitting sort of shots out on the internet, really beautiful shots of the stage set and everything, before anybody was getting them uploaded to social media, which was really, really cool thing to do. So that was our way to sort of, but you can't stop it, can you? I mean, when I started, it was such a privilege to be allowed into a gig venue with a camera. You were the like, kind of chosen one. And, you know, now it's everybody's taking photos. And sometimes you look at the audience and you just think, well, why am I here? Everybody's covering it. But I kind of hope that I capture something which is just so unique and so special that it craps all over anything that you can do on an iPhone.
You definitely do, surely do. But it must be such a pain in the ass for the band to have to look at the audience and see more phones than eyes, right?
Yeah. I mean that's the thing I'm missing the most at the moment, the live gig experience, because obviously we can't go to gigs. We're not, and that feeling, nothing can replicate it, can it? And so when you're there, just let yourself go and absorb that and enjoy it. Don't be there with your phone, sort of, you know, you're typing what you're going to do on social media. And it's, it can be quite depressing, to be honest, when you look at it and you just think, put your phone away, just put it away and lose yourself in this gig. You know, I've got it covered. I'll send you the pics, and that's how I see it.
You know, it's a little bit of common sense, and common sense is the least common of all senses. And I mean, I wish the band would start the show and say, look, we play the first song just for everybody to shoot photos and film anything you want. Rest of the show, forget about your phone and enjoy the show, man. You paid a lot of money to be here.
Yeah, I'm, you know, you're preaching to the choir. I totally agree with you. But when the Big Eddie comes out, I think, you know what I mean? I think if I wasn't a professional photographer, I would be filming it too. So I get it. I totally get it. But, you know, when it's like
not the whole show, the whole show.
You know, Fear of the Dark, you know, Blood Brothers, just put your phone away. Just enjoy it, because, you know, one thing I will say is that Iron Maiden play with so much passion, and they absorb that energy from the audience, and they are giving the everything. They're not just up there like a sort of theatre production where they're over-rehearsed and, you know, they're just doing the same performance each night. They are giving, they are there delivering, and it's, you know, Bruce is there, isn't he? You know, every time.
And it's a unique opportunity.
So why waste it? Yeah, why waste it with a mobile phone? But Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of maybe after a while, people get sick of looking at 200 photos and seeing that they all look like shit, and they can have access to John McMurtry's photos after a couple of hours, and they all look fucking unreal. So it's just realizing that what to do with your time, but it's just a matter of people like to show off that they're in the show, they're at the show, and they're close to the stage or whatever. But I mean, do that for 5 minutes and then enjoy the room.
I kind of think the way to get around that is by more sort of signage of the band you're going to see in the foyer. So say, you're going to go and see Kiss, in the foyer, everything is Kiss, and there's, massive signs, and that's where you do your social media stuff. And I think, you would take your photos, get it on social media, say where you are, and then, we should have signs on the doors as the public go in saying, right, now turn off your phone and put it away. You have it in the theater. So I don't understand why you don't have it at gigs. But I think a lot of managers, not Iron Maiden, I wouldn't say, but I think a lot of bands quite like the social media aspect of shooting at gigs, don't they? It tells people that there's a band out on the road, and so that's maybe why they haven't done a blanket ban on it. But I don't think it'd be that hard for venues to just say, turn your phones off. That's it. That's how it used to be. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think the Raconteurs, Jack White's band, they said not allowed to get in with phones, and I mean that would work in 2,000 people venues and stuff, but not 150,000 people. It's difficult. Where would you fucking keep all those phones? Rock in Rio? No.
I mean, to be honest, if I was in the audience of Rock in Rio, I would take some photos with my phone if I wasn't a photographer, because it's such a surreal experience, isn't it? It's such a huge crowd, and there are such huge shows that, I get it. And in some ways it is good that everyone's a photographer now, but, I think that makes you up your game even more. It never lets you kind of go, well, I'm the photographer, no one else is. But, when you've got, so many thousand photographers behind you, it's like, shit, I better take something really special, So, yeah, maybe it's a good thing.
And about the music in general, John, there's a lot of talk about rock being dead and people trying to kill rock for the 20th time, and people complaining that the bands today are not as good as the band in the 70s and all that shit. How do you see? I mean, you travel the whole world, you see a lot of bands, amazing band that supports Maiden every time they're on tour. How do you see? Like, are you optimistic, or do you think it's just ups and downs of the market, or do you think really?
I think well, the first thing is that the reporting here in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same where you are and in the USA as well. Guitar sales are off the hook at the minute because of the lockdowns, and exactly. People are buying guitars, and also I think there's so much angst at the moment with everything that's going on. There's so much that all of us want to do, and there's we're all being stifled, and we're all sort of making good of what we can. So I think the outcome from this, in a year's time or so, there's going to be so many angry punk bands appearing, aren't there? And hey, even if they have keyboards, I don't care. It's an attitude thing, isn't it? But yeah, rock. I mean, it's a great headline, isn't it? But rock is never going to die. There's always going to be a kid somewhere that's going to be feeling pissed off and got a lot of angst, who's going to get a guitar and learn 3 chords, and he's going to be able to get everything off his chest. So rock isn't going to go anywhere, is it? Especially when there's so many people still go into shows, and you've got so many bands.
There's nothing in the world like a good rock show, man. Nothing that can beat that. And I mean, I've worked with all kinds of artists. And what's that?
I was just saying, we're talking about. There's nothing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, 6 months ago,
go and see a show. Yeah.
But I worked with artists like I'm not saying names, but I worked with DJs, big DJs that did like live shows, supposedly live, but they weren't live. They were pretending they were turned the volume up and down, but not even that they were doing. So I mean, when you go to these things, you see nothing can beat a rock show. But are you a kind of music fan that likes to listen to old stuff, or you likes to research or look for new stuff? And what have you been listening to?
I mean, totally. I mean, I listen to classic rock, but the great thing about working for a magazine like Metal Hammer, I get to listen to and photograph and meet all the contemporary sort of, new musical acts. So yeah, there's an amazing band, Breed From Within. They're absolutely rocking it right now. Emerald Eyes, they're a metal band in Cornwall. There's some great new stuff coming along. There really is. But throughout my entire sort of photographic career, I've loved Deftones. Everything about the Deftones is, I've worked with them, photographed them from the beginning all the way to now. And so Deftones are my band. Faith No More, I used to love. But yeah, Deftones are the band that just do everything. They cover all bases, don't they? In the same way Led Zeppelin do. What's your desert island disc, Nando? What would be your disc you would take to a desert island?
I don't know. Maybe the White Album.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be Deftones, though. I mean, sort of my desert island disc used to be Physical Graffiti, because
that's my favorite Led Zeppelin album.
Yeah, it's just got everything there, hasn't it? It's got
exactly.
Heavy, it's got ballads, it's got folk, it's got, it's whatever mood you're in, you've got it. And Deftones, for me, that's what they've always done. They've always delivered. They've got that absolute just heavy stuff, but then they just kind of shirk off into this kind of space, aura. I love them. Yeah.
I like these bands in the. I don't know if you've been to Nordics many times, and in Sweden it seems that there's so many good bands that they sound pretty much like 70s bands, but Graveyard and Blues Pills and all
Blues Pills are great. I was working with them, and they're fabulous. They're absolutely brilliant.
And a band from Germany called Lucifer that has Nick Royale on the drums, the guy that. And his wife is the singer. I think they're from Berlin. I mean, it's great that so many bands are still,
Oh, you've just gone quiet. Hopefully, you'll come back. Yeah, I think I've got you.
Yeah. So, and how about other kind of image, films and series? Everybody's bored at home and needs. Everybody need some kind of tips in terms of series or films, or what have you been watching? What do you like watching? I remember Bruce said that he loves Dexter.
Oh yeah, Dexter's good, isn't it? Dexter. Have you watched Dexter? I mean, Dexter's mental. I remember one of the assistant tour managers, Gadsy, who's no longer with us, and he was watching Dexter, and I remember him going, well, they said to watch Dexter. I watched it last night. Fucking hell, it's mental. It's like blood everywhere, isn't it?
Blood, too much blood.
Yeah. Well, I've got sort of Stranger Things we got really into. I rewatched Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad is the top. Is the number one of all time for me.
Yeah. We're watching The Boys at the minute. Have you watched that?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
That's good. That's it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really good. It's about a bunch of superheroes. That you imagine if superheroes became a thing and they became like a corporation, how fucked up it would be. And it's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. But you know what I've been doing the most? Poker. That's what
poker.
I've been doing.
Tell us about it. It's the Heavy Metal Poker Club.
Heavy Metal Poker Club. It was like the first week in lockdown. We set up a poker game on PokerStars with a few friends, and probably similar to the way you are with your friends and stuff. My friends were like saying, "What are you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sticking on Surfing with the Alien." So everybody said, "Whoa, okay, let's put on Surfing with the Alien at the beginning of the poker game. We'll start it bang on 9 o'clock. So we're all listening to the same thing, and it was kind of cool." And we did this, and we thought, it'd be a really good idea to start a Heavy Metal Poker Club where the winner each week gets to choose next week's album. So when the game starts, everybody hits play on this album. And then we thought, we'll start a league. And then we had a load of friends in New York and in America who were saying they wanted to play with us, but they couldn't play with us because of the money thing. There's a whole gambling thing. So we decided to start this points thing where you kind of play a game of poker and you get points. So if you win, you get 10 points. And at the end of the season, so we'd have a whole football season, sort of poker season, you'd be a prize and all the rest of it. And we just played 21 games over 21 weeks, gave away this massive trophy, and it was just superb. So, yeah, that's what Heavy Metal Poker is. Find us on Facebook at Heavy Metal Poker.
I'll translate that. Eu falei com ele sobre vários assuntos agora de dicas, né? Ele falou de dicas de série, ele falou de dicas de filmes e tudo, e de bandas, mas ele falou que ele tem feito muito nesse período de quarentena, foi o Heavy Metal Poker Club, que é uma liga de jogadores de poker, e quem ganha, eles jogam, durante o jogo eles estão escutando ao mesmo tempo um álbum escolhido pelo ganhador da semana passada. Então, eles já estão há 21 semanas, e o ganhador vai somando pontos, né, para não ficar uma coisa de jogo de azar envolva dinheiro, mas é muito legal. And anyone can join. It's just have to find you on a Facebook page, right?
It's completely free. Yeah, it's completely free. And yeah, we did a 2020 championship that just ended, and the next one will start next year in March. We're doing a tournament starting in a week's time, but that one is, I think it's like a £5 in. So if you join the Facebook site, there's all the details on there, and but it's it's really good fun. But the next tournament, I think it's an 11-week tournament. So if you can play poker, and I know a lot of people in Brazil can, so get on Facebook. But it's on PokerStars, the app. But yeah, it's been great, but it's been something to look forward to, Nando, because we've just had nothing to look forward to, have we? With lockdown, it's been
boring.
So tough. Yeah, it's been really tough. I mean, how are things there? Are things improving in Brazil?
Yeah, slowly improving. The numbers were like, we're the second worst place on earth regarding this disease, just after the US. We have a very confusing message from our government and from our leaders. So people think that it's a communist conspiracy from China, and some other people think that wearing a mask doesn't help. But I mean,
we're getting that here in the UK too. It's crazy.
But it's crazy. I mean, we're trying. I'm at home, and my family is at home. My daughter hasn't been at school for 6 months now. My wife is able to work from home. We're very privileged because we can order food, we can buy anything online, and there's a lot of people without jobs. A lot of friends of ours that work in the live show with live shows, they just have no jobs, or are doing different things, or cooking to sell food, or whatever, whatever way they can make some money. But there's a light in the end of the tunnel. I think that we still have a few months to go, maybe end of first quarter next year, when there's a medicine or a vaccine or something. Maybe that can go back to normal. But at least, I mean, we have to take something positive from it, and it's that we need to, money and all these material goods, they're good for you, but I mean, caring about each other is the most important thing, and having friends and taking care of your family. So I mean, that's the most important thing, and music and art, and what we will be doing if we didn't have albums to listen, or films to watch, or series to watch. And so we have to value these things, and hopefully people will get that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing about, I think, the UK government. They were supporting things, and they're not doing a great job of supporting things at the minute. And you kind of think, well, that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, we like movies, we like sort of watching, gigs and music, and it is massively important, and it has to be supported. And that's
and one day we'll be looking.
You've just gone dead on my screen, so hopefully you can hear me.
I can. No, I was going to say that one day we'll look at 2020 and we'll think like, remember 2020, that fucked up year that we had to stay at home for almost the whole year, and then we'll have a laugh about it, and things will go back to normal at some point.
Yeah, that's what I hope. But I do think we need to start campaigning for musicians to take back the power, because if musicians can't play live and they can't make money from record sales, then the likes of Spotify and all the rest of the streaming sites, I think there needs to be some sort of action that the bands take back the music. So if you want to listen to music, you have to pay for it. Otherwise, these musicians are going under. And there's a lot of good friends that I've got that are really struggling at the minute. And I think they're making a lot of sort of very difficult life decisions about where they go. But let's just see how things pan out. Yeah,
man. But first of all, I have to thank you for your time, and it was great chatting with you. And I'll let you go now. It's what, midnight? Almost midnight there. It's almost 2 minutes. 2 minutes to midnight, or
2 minutes to midnight. I'm just waking
10 minutes.
up.
Where are you now? Are you in your office or
yeah,
I see some maiden photos in the back, some beautiful shots.
Yeah. This is kind of my den, but yeah, I'm just outside of London. That's where I am as well. But
Nice,
yeah, no, it's
nice.
been lovely, Nando, and I really hope, I sincerely hope that we hook up soon and we have a few Pisco Sours or whatever it is, and yeah, we have a few drinks.
Yeah, definitely. And stay safe. Hope your kids are well and family, everything good.
Yeah.
And if you see Rod, tell him I said hi, or Milas or Alexander. I'll send him a message. I'll send him the link of these interviews. Tell him, and we spoke about him. And
brilliant.
I mean, just stay home a couple of months more, and maybe next year we'll be able to get together again.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so. I think we'll turn a corner at some stage, won't we? It'll all work out. Yeah. Cheers, man.
Okay,
love to your family too. And
all the best, mate. Yeah.
Cheers,
Stay
man.
Stay in touch.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye.